The Brawl Cup champions that beat the world found their master in big talents in April. Now, Kumalazawesta, the same roster, is here to show that it wasn't just a fluke. Pearl is going to be the first pick here. We are out in the open. What we usually do get to see is something to open up the map right away. Brock is banned out though. Then Meeple and Byron, Colette out of the way, Leon and Jean, just very strong bowler in the meta overall. And if you can't break the map open, as Brock is banned out on the other side, you're just gonna go with something that can cross the water. Angelo and Eve are the two that come to mind there.
I think this is one differentiation we're going to see compared to the drafts of East Asia. I feel like on this map in particular, EMEA is much more prone to going support plus something more aggressive, or on the other end, we're going to go super control oriented, and that's where this Pearl comes into play. If we see out in the open a lot, which I think we will if Humble progress, I think this is one of the maps they're probably going to target more oftentimes than not. We're going to be seeing Jaeyoungs of the world, Pearls of the world. They get very different with it in this region.
Over to Humble now. For me, I would quite like to see a Crow come through here. It's one that I think is still so strong. Unless we see that sort of change potentially in the balancings that we've seen in a bit of a sneak peek for, still very much up there in terms of brawlers that I would be looking to kind of secure myself. Guts, I think, still here as well. Mina, definitely. We've seen so well played in East Asia yesterday, and EMEA was kind of where they took the idea from. So I'd quite like to see some aggression combined with it. Yeah, and the Guts is the first sign of it. So good stuff from Humble for me, and it's a versatile pick to have to combine with that third.
Don't really have anything to get into the map quickly just yet. On the right-hand side, we have the Jaeyoung speeding up his teammates, and Angelo, of course, to cross the water on the left-hand side, so they can play a bit more spread out than Humble at the moment. Bell, of course, would also be one of those picks that is very good to make sure that your opponents aren't really standing too close together. With the Gus, that would open up definitely Amina, as you already mentioned, Ark, something more aggressive. Make sure they can get into the middle quickly. It's going to be Crow instead, making sure that the Jaeyoung can't heal his teammates too much. Yeah, and Crow on this map shows up a ton anyways, just for the vision. So when you have that little strip of grass on the enemy side, you don't even need to run a vision gear, because naturally, if you're hitting those switchblades, it's just going to reveal where the enemy is.
Final pick now, coming through for FA Kuma. Already, I'm loving what I'm seeing on the side of Humble, so it's going to be tough to really kind of champion and rival it. The Anglo's kind of going to be quite overrun potentially, so some hard-hitting brawlers wouldn't be a bad shout for them.
Close,
Pierce going to come through for FA Kuma. I went on about this a lot today yesterday in East Asia. We didn't kind of see as much of it as I would like, and I feel like today might very well be that different day. EMEA really bringing Pierce in a lot, and I feel like it's the perfect brawler to add to this comp. It was quite an obvious choice here. They have two snipers and someone to speed up their team. Really nice draft from both sides. I would even say Kumalazawesta is the better one here. Humble just picked the brawlers that they like to play in scrims. Their top brawlers are Pearl, Crow and Gus, so there you go. But I feel like Kuma is a bit better on this map in particular.
I think the Pearl's just not going to get nearly as much value being outranged now. They didn't get really aggressive, but there's plenty of vision to go around from Humble. Nowhere to hide on the map. Last time these two teams faced off, Kuma got the better of Humble, and it's rare that any team does so. A 3-0 sweep, not even a game on the board, like my big man Ark said, as Boss now hides bottom left-hand side. All these long-range to mid-range brawlers from Kuma, just trying to get some tags to go through. It's now Semantic going to throw a dagger back and forth a little bit, each time really just trying to charge utility. We're going to take it real slow at the start, like we do oftentimes in EMEA and Knockout. Just make sure we're lining up shots.
Luki's in a nice position in this top right rather, trying to just keep Dompe suppressed. And he's been pinched. Luki with 2 consecutive shots there as well. Semantic does join force. Yeah, much needed heals there from mine, just the right time. Boss going to be overcooking on that Pearl as well, so as time goes on, it doesn't necessarily help FA Kuma in that regard. Now the gas coming in, and this is where Boss can really thrive.
Fight's going to be forced. Nobody really with supers either, so it's going to be a matter of the regular taps towards the in-game. Luki with low HP. Humble under heavy fire. Down goes one. A second in play, too, though. This could be the tie they needed, but not quite enough. 8-17, 18-55. Very fair fight, but one that came down to the wire, as mine, of course, can have the easiest time cycling these supers. We'll walk into the game with one.
Already. Boss trying to get some early damage. Semantic's pushing forwards with him as well, so that's a nice position for Boss to kick things off. Got to keep a bit of an eye on this left-hand side now, as that will be where FA Kuma will be trying to escape from this back left-hand side. There is the weakened Warrior gadget from mine. Couldn't quite make the most of the opening, and a lot of damage conceded, actually. Semantic will survive, though, the helping hand of that Gus shielding. Now, coming forwards, as mine is low. I feel like So far, so good for Humble. I mean, playing pretty much pitch perfect.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Lukey did burn through a super, I believe, and Semantic did end up surviving, but losing that bubble is a big deal, especially with the Angelo poison that can come in later down. Knocked arrow, a little bit of a miss there. Some heals going out from Mine. Jaeyoung, of course, can be able to play this hybrid brawler, somebody that's support, but also with that gadget, can do some pretty big damage.
Mine gonna make a break now with the speed coming through, but Boss still so tanky and full of HP, and now Mine's in a tough spot here. Yeah, where realistically can he go? Doing his best to survive, but that is gonna be him going down here, and an aggressive jump from Semantic. It looks like it will pay off, actually, to be fair. And between himself and Boss, they will get the job done to equalize the rounds.
I think especially with the backup fire that he had, that was a perfectly good jump. Gets the double tag, and on top of that, with the gadget choice, can run that shield a little bit, makes Semantic job significantly easier. As now Mine's just getting in a really aggressive position, gonna use that speed just to make sure they can climb up the map a little faster. A double tag there as Boss now has to fend for his life. Mine sees this opportunity, going in with a hypercharge. The extra damage from the gadget, it does so much, but it's ultimately gonna be a trade. Now Semantic going to be a playmaker. Hypercharge going through a 2v1. A jump from Dompe, but Semantic meets him at the mark, and it'll be Humble getting a game, something they haven't done against this team yet.
About to say as well, looking back to April now, Humble have already done better. It will not be a complete full sweep on the side here of FA Kuma, but I feel like they've still got plenty of promise. And speaking to a lot of players in this region and coaching staff, everyone says the same thing, that BGT, or now obviously FA Kuma, are a really, really good team. They are now someone that we all kind of expect to see at the LCQ at least.
I think it's somebody that I've definitely got on my mind, and just seeing these guys and how they performed last month, a real opportunity to kind of keep growing, keep going. This isn't somebody I necessarily expect to win this month, but if they can get through Humble, obviously they're capable of doing just about anything and beating any team.
Well, this is a bit of a different way forwards now, as Humble are in the back spawn side. Good taps from Lukey. Can't quite find the Angelo of Dompe in that top mid now. They've been kind of, I don't want to say let out, but Humble have definitely retaken control, and kind of surprised. That's pretty much where you want to establish yourselves and force your opposition. So they are now back into a bit more of an even setting.
As this gets towards the later games as well, I like this odds for Boss, because even Angelo takes a really long time to knock that arrow, and with the shield gear on, 9,400 plus HP for Boss in that situation, it's going to take a lot of firepower to bring him down, as now Lukey goes to this right-hand side alongside Dompe. Fog starting to close in. Nice tags, but of course Mine can heal him up, so this will make it a very even affair as this goes to the end.
Yeah, nice cookie popper there from Lukey. Oh, a takedown as well from Semantic, and now on a 1-3 Mine. Just going to go straight back into the gas and submit. The round will go the way of Humble. Now things are getting a little bit close for comfort.
Yeah, if you're Kuma, you really need to pick up a round here. And I like the strategy from Mine, just immediately putting themselves in position, the extra speed. That's one of the benefits of Jaeyoung. Sure, he's not the biggest damage dealer, but you saw earlier, with that hypercharge in tandem with the gadget, it can really pour some damage out. You really need that into somebody like Boss right now. Lukey without a shield too. I think this is an opportunity Kuma need to get aggressive. We saw Dompe kind of play this backline. He is a long-range sharpshooter, but if he steps forward, he at least puts a little more presence on the map. Humble can't necessarily just walk out of this situation if he does. Massive
taps there from Ness. Semantic down to 900 HP as well as a result of just that now. Follow-upping with the super. Lukey's pushed to the right-hand side. This is fantastic work from FA Kuma. They've got to hold this position and keep the pressure on Humble. Predict where they're trying to lie and trying to escape from this right-hand side. Boss trying to do just that. And then meeting tags along the way. This is much, much better.
Kuma just suffocating Humble. No room to walk, and now the green gas is moving towards them as well. Semantic just forced to jump out. Mine gonna be traded down with the jump. He's able to get this, even popping out hypercharge for the double. Semantic with 390, putting in some serious work. Dompe in the air, shots galore, and a little shake off from Semantic. Excellently played, and what a big bounce back compared to the last time we saw them on the online stage.
It's incredible, isn't it? Because any other player jumping in with a crow, you just expect to be immediately just decimated, gone, eradicated, leaving your opposition like in a 3v2 scenario with the upper hand. And Semantic makes it look that easy. I can assure you, it is anything but. So calculated, so confident, and many a time, and that was a previous example.
Exactly.
He just is the playmaker, and that's not normally even his role in Humble, actually. He's more of like the solid rock in that regard, and just really impeccable from him today so far.
I feel like in a lot of compositions with Crow in recent history too, it's not necessarily been the KD that he brings to the table, it's the poke damage. It's just being super annoying to deal with. But on this matchup in particular, it was Crow diving in, using gadgets, getting kills, and there were several times there even with 300 to 500 say HP. He was one-tapped several times and still ended up coming out on top. I think that's the separator, and I think why that Crow play was a little more impressive than usual to me. It was just a little different.
Humble also shines with discussing what went wrong even between the games. And I think we saw it in between now as well, how much better and more controlled they were in game number 2. Kumalazawesta, that smoked them, let's call it that way, in April, doesn't look as calm and collected. They even had the better comp for me because they had the different angles to work with, whereas Humble had to go through the right. They couldn't really do it any other way. Now, this was Humble's map pick. Keep that in mind. We're now going over to Layer Cake. Kumalazawesta picked this map, also having in mind that Humble scrimped this map only twice. So let's see if maybe this could be now Kumalazawesta's sets. Now already with the bans here, Ali Pitts and staying banned out of Humble. A lot of aggression out of the way. Meeple is going to be the first pick, and that was also their most played brawlers in scrims. So they got what they wanted so far.
I think Meeple's going to be a borderline banned brawler on this map just in general throughout the day too, and it's somebody that I would expect to see an increase in tick rate and pick rate, I guess, for this region compared to yesterday too. I think there's just a lot better of a blend of aggression, I want to say, because in East Asia, for example, they're not afraid to play these assassins in tanks and even first or second pick them. They're prioritizing it early in their drafts, whereas this region is more playing around the anti-tanks. Can we make this work? And that's exactly why you're going to see something like an Otis come in, something like a control brawler in Meeple. We're going to start safe, and then we're going to figure it out in our 4, 5, or 6 pick.
I like that, Otis. A nice insurance policy. Crow, Kaze still going to be very good on this particular map here. I feel like there's still very much space for aggressive brawlers, despite that kind of like Mortis ban. Kenji could certainly do that. Leon would be a great choice for me also. Kind of glad, though, that Ali is banned out. It's a very common brawler in this specific region, very strong on this particular map also. I think for me, though, Shade for Kuma, not necessarily what I was thinking, but I think Berry could be one that we see shine here somewhere by either of these two teams.
Could definitely still pair a Shade with Berry to have that heals in the back. Wouldn't hurt him. We also still have a Byron left open for that purpose as well, obviously. On the left-hand side, no aggression whatsoever so far. Also nothing really to deal with that Shade. Let's see if we get to see something like a Trunk, maybe. Good Shade counter. We get to see it very often in East Asia. It's also an NA special. In EMEA, so far unspoken of. So I don't really believe we get to see a Trunk, but we'll see. Crow will get picked up. He's just ever strong at the moment. I don't know if you two have seen the rumors about his nerfs coming in soon. He's still strong now. Let's see if he will still be after those nerfs.
Yeah, enjoy him while you can. I think just keep running it. It's a very solid brawler overall. I feel like there's not really ever going to be a situation where you're going to at least lose your set off of Crow. I think now they're going to kind of contemplate if they want to do something direct into the Shade, or do they believe what I imagine is going to be the Rage Quit gadget out of Semantic or whoever ends up playing Meeple. Because a lot of teams will use this to stun him out. Oh, there's the Berry. I think this is tough. If Shade gets going, I could see this going disastrously for the Berry, but he does have a little bit of a knockback with his gadget and the healing effect. Obviously, there's poison, or I guess it's ice cream on the ground, right? But it is going to tinkle away at somebody like Shade's health. So I could kind of see this going one of two ways.
Yeah, I think the Berry's it's a very aggressive idea, but if the Shade gets going and has the support behind it, right now they haven't really got that. So the Otis is that insurance policy, which they don't necessarily need. I mean, in the eventuality of a Crow jump, yeah, it will be a good mute to have, but I'm not sure how much value the Otis is necessarily going to get now. The Ziggy coming in is a comp which to me screams all day long. Try to reach the blue star first, which might be quite tough actually with the additional speed of the Crow, but sit back with the Ziggy is a very tough kind of comp to push into if you've got the lead, but you do have to have that lead.
Berry can play aggressively thanks to a gadget, so having two brawlers now that can deal with him, Ziggy and Shade, definitely not a wrong move. Once again, I quite like both of these drafts. They could go either way. The map pick is in Kumalazawesta's side, so let's see if they can even out the score in this one.
It's going to be a battle for the blue star early as Poison goes down. Luki firing out some shots. And I think this last pick being a thrower is most likely to go into this composition in general, but it doesn't do well in throwers. But also, Berry in a 1v1 isn't typically going to be the best into other throwers. I'm a little surprised it's Ziggy, but it's just one of the brawlers we haven't seen regularly practice in a while. But it is a solid one on this map because of how much of a choke point you can create with that super.
It was actually what kind of suffered with Zeta Division in their qualifiers. This was one of the drafts, that kind of Ziggy in Layer Cake, I distinctly remember was a thorn in their side. It was, I think, this first set which they started to really crumble on. So it is a really good brawler to have on this particular map, and I think in a very good spot. We see it often kind of considered quite highly and banned out in this specific region. Boss taking a lot of damage there in that mid, surviving on though. That blue star safe for now. Ness might not be in the same position, and that'll be a securing ice cream there from Luki.
Ness dying is okay, but he has to make sure he cycles out out that super. Otherwise, it's no good. And we know how lethal Luki can be with this brawler. He's more than an assassin in the past in Brawl Cups of 2025, for example, one of his standout performances. One thing I'm keeping my eye on, too, Semantic in this bottom right-hand side does have a super, especially now that he can shoot through the walls. That's going to be very impactful into somebody like Shade.
Yeah, who can forget Luki? And I believe it was Hot Zone, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely everywhere. Different map and different mode here for sure, but the mechanics are on the same man. Keeping this back is the key, not feeding in as well with that proximity and getting too close, as Semantic does just that. Goes down to mine there. So Luki and Boss going to have to step up. The hypercharge coming from Luki to support things, and that's going to keep Ness back. Yeah, nice stuff there from Luki to allow his teammate to respawn back in.
Yeah, it's just standing out to me that Ness isn't cycling any supers, and if Shade's not going, this composition is going to fail. Otis and Ziggy are not enough of playmakers. They're not assassins. They're not meant to be KD warriors. They're going to have to rely on a super from Dompe as the force field goes down. Boss jumps away, though, dives down to the right-hand end as Luki holds his zone 2. He's going to go straight at him for an extra kill. Dompe in trouble. Mine low HP. The poison trickling away. Humble safely in the backside, and what a turnaround from what we saw the last time in this matchup, especially on the other team's map. Humble were thriving there.
Crazy towards the end there. Luki almost got himself a triple, but just didn't land the other shots on to the low HP brawlers on the other side of the field from FA Kuma. And Boss jumping away from that Ziggy super. I've not really kind of seen that utilized in that way before, and I don't mind it. I feel like if it means that you're going to keep yourself in a defensive spot in the final seconds, that you don't have your super, but you can still be surviving and in a good position to do so in terms of HP, go for it. But Humble are looking so confident here. Mine almost overextending here. Might trickle down here as well. Down to 143 HP just about now on the right-hand side as well. Boss tapping away onto Dompe. It's just going from bad to worse so far. FA Kuma, they're just all over the place.
There's the interaction with the gadget I was talking about, too. A little spin from Luki. He bounces Shade away and then can drop the ice cream on the ground. So he's basically going to be going through the gadget and then 2 scoops of ice cream that are pouring out, too. And notice Luki's footwork here as well. Shade has this little circle around him, and Luki's entire job is to stay just outside that. It doesn't allow Shade to walk forward, and he's super frustrated enough to the point where he's walking right side.
Boss going in super on the aggressive there. Luki again using supers away. Humble are not afraid to use utility to evade that Ziggy. And I think that's a really good and interesting way to go about it. One thing's for sure here is that Ness is absolutely struggling with Luki. He's trying to heal that Boss there. Couldn't quite do it. It's going to hand over 4 stars in the process. So quite a big loss there for Humble. They're only going to be 1 star away. The blue is with Kuma too. So Kuma just need 1 singular takedown to take a lead.
Important tap there as now this makes this 1 star. Blue star still residing with Mine as well as now they're looking to get a little more aggressive. Dompe flashing that super. He needs to use it wisely, though. There are really no get-out-of-jail free cards, though. No boss jump right now, no Luki dive, so if they're going to use it, they need to make sure they don't feed Humble any supers.
Well, Dompe is looking for the prime opportunity in these final seconds to use that super. These hills from Luki got to be on point. They're still holding back the long arms, still waiting for this push. And it might be a bit premature there. I'm not really kind of seeing if Kuma utilize off the back of it. Big hills there from Luki. He's going to actually have to primarily heal himself. I think Boston Semantic weren't in the worst of spots. Ness still holding on, but where are his teammates?
Haunted Hug on the left-hand side. Doesn't quite make contact, though. Humble now going to be clustered together on the bottom side. Dompe needs to make a move. Purple Blood not enough to match the enemy side as Luki holds the super. Knows he has the heals available. Doesn't even need to use it. A sweep of a set coming out from Humble. Incredible performance, and it just looks like they are the same team we saw at Brawl Cup. This isn't the online Humble anymore. This is an evolution we haven't seen quite from them yet.
Yeah, Humble are not, allowing their opposition to make the first move. Humble are just looking so solid and confident and allowing FA Kuma to make those mistakes. I felt like the Otis was a bit of a wet pair of hands for me. It just kind of was an insurance policy which didn't pay off. Maybe an idea there that they were trying to prevent Humble from deviating towards that. So there, Luki, if you just maybe landed a couple more shots on that top side, that was a triple. Could have been way worse. That was a red button press waiting for me, but it wasn't quite enough. But honestly, I mean, Humble are just looking way back to their former selves, and they are not relishing in the past. They are moving on. They are staying in the present.
You're talking about the Otis. I also felt like Ziggy as last pick didn't really bring the value a last pick should have. In the end, draft was completely fine though. I really don't think that was the issue here. It's just Humble is the problem here. They play too well, mechanically really the peak performance of the world. We saw that already in Berlin, and they're proving it again in their own region. Now keep in mind here, this was the map pick from Kumalazawesta. It was a 2-0 sweep from Humble. This is now going back into Humble's side of things. Hard Rock Mine was their pick, a map that they really like to play. I fear for Kumalazawesta at this point.
Absolutely, because I think this is one of Humble's comfort picks. Hard Rock Mine is something they're very familiar with, and obviously it's a long-time map, so all of our players have kind of had experience with it over the years. I'm thoroughly impressed with Humble so far. And to your point, I didn't feel like it was an outdraft by a million, but I think they really limited what Kuma wanted to do. That Shade pick last time, they got zero value from it, just maintaining positioning, hitting shots. I mean, this is really impressive stuff from Humble into a team that we gave a lot of credit to. I know the poll didn't give them credit. 95-5 is injustice, especially considering that Kuma literally beat this team last month. So for Humble to take this very personal victory and try and make this a revenge matchup and do so well so far, still a job left to be done, but I think a lot of credit to them.
That's a brawler that you can't really let slide through, but Semantic was the one player that I noticed going public and saying that we were not too worried about Damien. Like, he didn't really feel personally like it was a problem, so I'll be very curious to see whether that will prevail and be the case. There are some good counters to Damien, things like Nita, which are not actually banned out here. Could be an idea to consider bringing some of those in, or Charlie. We saw that as a really good response in East Asia yesterday, and one that I was keeping my eye out to see, and it did kind of come through as a way that pros were looking to counter. All could be very useful here on this particular map, so I'm looking to see how they do fare with it. Otis might be also another good example of a brawler which can handle Damien. There's very few, to be honest, and that's why Damien is so good.
Next to Nita, Otis and Chester definitely shine against this brawler. Still, I feel like it's a good first pick. Damien is very strong in the current meta, but there are things you can do against him if you play it right. And if any team can play it right, it's going to be Humble today. I feel Kit is going to be their second pick here, so they do have something aggressive on their side as well. Now, we still need a gem carrier on the side of Humble, unless they want to have Otis as that. Sandy could be one of those. Sandy and Mina immediately picked up here, so double aggression. No range to speak of. On the side of Kumalazawesta, I'm not too convinced of this draft, I have to say. Now, on the left-hand side, just go Janet or something. Evade the incoming aggression, and you're going to be fine as a gem carrier.
I think that's a good point. I could honestly see them flexing this Otis as well. I think Otis mainly going to be shadowing either the Mina for the stun or onto Damien, but I think Mina is going to ultimately be the gym carrier on the right-hand end. It looks like they're just going to go full control. I mean, I think that's necessary, especially into somebody like Mina and Damien and Sandy now. Nita just seems like a perfect solution. I mean, Bruce the Bear is not going to be dealt with well by any of those three brawlers.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't go and gravitate to a bit more range from Humble's side, but I feel like Nita's like the better response to have here. It's just kind of funny that we've got so little range in the entirety of all the brawlers that we're going to see, but I feel like this is still going to be quite interesting to see for the first time, how do EMEA handle Damien? We saw it, and it was actually kind of one of the biggest reasons why CR Crazy Raccoon did not make it out of those semi-finals against Rival Esports. So will they be able to do the same here for Humble and show that EMEA can get it done?
So it is going to be Lukey versus Mina in the middle of the map. Otis going against this, I think, is very fine, and I think Semantic's just getting invisible here, going for the card box a few taps, and he can also stun out Damien too. That's something to watch. So I imagine Lukey and Semantic are going to want to coordinate on this, as Semantic just backing him off. Little cat and mouse, quite literally, as he's trying to make sure he doesn't bait out this super too hard.
Nice wall there from Ness. But if Semantic does choose, he's going to go on the aggressive on the top left-hand side there, and a swift takedown there of Dompe, who's really struggled to get in this kind of series so far for me. Let's see, Semantic now looking forwards onto the Mina as well. Not going to get a swipe though, and will be aggressed now by Dompe.
Several really good isolated plays there. So on the bottom right-hand side, Damien left alone, and they switch and go top left. I think if Candy is dove on, it's going to be really difficult for Sandy to deal with, especially now Boss with a super too. If he needs to get out of jail free card, he's absolutely got it. Shield going up as well. Semantic just wants the kill. It's a sweet dreams to put Semantic down for now, but they still hold complete positioning, and they've already cycled in another super for Boss, and alongside that, a purple button.
Hyper charge now for Boss too, so a really difficult point as well. Gems spilled out onto the map into the hands of Dompe. But that's not good. Humble still in control. 7 gems in the pocket. And a problem that is still that hypercharge. Bruce now taken care of. Finally, a sweet dreams down from Dompe. Boss, though, going to be seen this entire time, not worried to go in to the Rude Sands. His mine there, low HP, lurking forward on that right-hand side to try to aggress Lukey.
Fat Splatter's also going to be great for visibility into those sandstorms. As the wind goes up, Mine is able to back down. Ness with a hypercharge has to make it count. To your point earlier, Damien is a brawler you just have to keep your eyes on. Even though they've countered him so well, the hypercharge is so valuable. They stun him out immediately, though. A perfect timing from Lukey. A sandstorm doesn't help them in this spot either. They just need to get positioning. And while the gym count is close, I really feel like Humble have a stronghold on the map.
Brilliant timing, it really is, and you can just see there how effective that Otis really was into that Damien. The Nita Aurora is just like the icing on the cake against the comp, which has no range. Semantic going to come in with the final smash there as well, steal all the gems, and it's just clear who is getting swept this month so far. Humble continue their assaults and move on to match point.
It's such a combination of impressive but effortless. It just looks like, despite several different kinds of maps and drafts that Humble are having it their way, they've had an answer to everything out of this squad that I believe has a bright future. They've shown what they can do.
Time.
Last time, towards the end of the split, they were getting a little better every month. It felt like they found the recipe for success. Credit to them as well. They also made it to a grand final. It wasn't just Humble that they beat. It wasn't a one-off. They also beat Na'Vi in a situation, too. They've made a grand final. This is a team with a bright future, but Humble just making it look so easy right now.
And beating Na'Vi as well, considering that they were losing to them in the qualifying stages every single month. They would always run into Na'Vi, and the result was always the same. So to get that job done on the biggest stage of all was really a great way to demonstrate that they've got what it takes. Now, though, this is starting to turn into something which they cannot come back from, as Humble are just continuing to get so more confident as time goes on. But now, great jump there, but somehow Boss comes and still stays able to support his team.
Yeah, he can be a flexible carrier as well. It's not ideal. You'd rather have them all in one spot, especially your mid-brawler, but Boss isn't necessarily looking to be up in the enemy spaces. He's going to let Bruce do the dirty work for him. As Semantic goes for another dive. Dompe left all alone. It's another kill. Semantic's combinations with his teammates, and now a stun going on to Nest too. He's a goner. Could be a triple kill, but Mind somehow survives, holds on to those 4 gems. Very important for the red roster.
I feel so bad for Nest. There's nothing that he's able to really do is disturbing what Humble have been preparing for. We can just see they've come in so well gathered as to how to handle this really troublesome brawler. Let's see now, as there's a couple of seconds here where on the right-hand side, Dompe's actually going to get connection. Nest is well in trouble, and Humble still looks so strong and on top of their game.
Boss now flanked up on this top-hand side wall as Bruce the Bear just continues to walk them down. Nest will go for the hypercharge. It's another timed hypercharge of their own, though. Luki is able to stun him out, and on top of that, he literally couldn't move a muscle. Mind with a valuable kill. Semantic meets him at the face, though, and now it's a countdown for Humble.
Semantic not outstaying his welcome, but he might get cut off here. Now Luki is there, but look at this. There's a chance for a steal here, potentially. Kuma know that Humble are low. Wall of sound there will block off Semantic, and Mind will pick up the kill. 8 gems aside. The Mind trying to escape and shut down all along the way. Now Dompe and Nest. Nest the lower of the 2, and the Bruce stuck in the walls of sound. That's ridiculous. Can Kuma steal it? Can they get something on the board?
I think Clock's still okay, though. Humble are going to slow the pacing down. They're going to go to the middle of this map as a 10th gem is going to spawn with about 5 seconds on the clock. But Mind making a dash for it. A windmill as well. They need a kill. 2 countdown, and the triple king goes out. Beautiful plays. Kuma with a big bounce back. This is what we saw from them last month. Despite how scrappy of a fight that was, they played that game 2 significantly better. Semantic wasn't having nearly the same effect as he did in that game 1.
So they will get 1 game on the board at least. It won't be the full sweep of which they were able to inflict on Humble back in April. But will Humble potentially now drop a set? I don't think so. I think that they got to a point in that countdown where they were just a bit too low and a bit too clustered in that bottom left-hand side. Is it a bit too little, too late for FA Kuma? That now is the question, because if they can just get this game, it might be able to breathe some life back into the squad.
I'm liking this adjustment out of Kuma. I think that might be the play. It's just play more as a unit. Don't go left, middle, right. Kind of travel together, because if this kit dives in, then at least you're able to defend yourself. And especially Damien, who can knock you back with his natural punch, is really good. But Bruce the Bear still a menace. Sandy's going to take so many shots. Going to need assistance from Mind, but Mind's got occupation of his own. He's got to get away. Semantic makes the perfect dive. 1 tag. Nest goes in as well, but the crowd control so good from him. They're able to hold on to all of these, and it's still Kuma somehow with the lead.
But Humble have all the control in terms of the map so far. And Mind is now trying to play into Luki, getting some good hits though. Luki will actually have that wall of sound for his advantage in that bottom right-hand side, which isn't great for the position now of FA Kuma. We're going to have to distribute themselves a little bit better here. Mind coming in. Semantic going to overshoot, though, and will go down. Boss now with the hypercharge. Bruce coming through, trying to create some space for his team and doing a pretty decent job of it, using it to body block along the way. Now he will fall, and now FA Kuma will recollect. But in the meanwhile, Luki's been picking up gems, now 6 apiece.
Kuma feel like they're starting to settle in. This is much more even of a fight. A much better showing, and the best set we've seen from them so far as the Sandstorm goes down. So vision completely covered for them. Alongside that, a wall. So Mind easily able to collect this 9th gem. 7-7. Look out for this hypercharge from Luki on the bottom left-hand side. Nest doesn't have one yet, but they're going to try this perfectly. Oh, and the gadget goes down too. Semantic just not playing this nearly as well as he did early in the set.
Great shots there from Boss, right at the cusp of that range. Oh, Mines, gotta be careful here. He's going super on the aggressive, and there's the hypercharge from Lukey. Now Damien gets a chance to have it say the gem spilled all over the map, and Ness will be able to run away. There's gonna be a chance maybe with the timer for Humble to reset, but it's gonna be really quite straightforward, surely, especially now the hypercharge Sandy. Roof Sounds coming through, and it should be okay for FA Kuma as long as they can stay hidden and Humble cannot find them. There's not enough time to see it done. A set on the board buys valuable time for FA Kuma.
Big time steal as well, considering that was Humble's map choice. And I feel like Humble may have sealed their own grave there by using that Otis hypercharge a little too early, because once Damien cycled in, sure, they got the Jibs at EMEA, but the big bad was on the back end of the map. You had to watch out for that. You knew that was the interaction you needed to make, and Lukey did it so well in game number 1. That's what arguably won them this set. He was landing really good shots. He made the tag. He just used it on the wrong member. By exhausting it too early, they couldn't defend themselves, and if you rewind the tape a little bit or look at these replays, I think that's the separator. I think Humble had a real chance of taking it in game number 3, but like I said, Kuma feels settled. This is more of the team that I was used to seeing in the previous month.
It's just amazing to me that Damien is a brawler, which despite Humble's best attempts, they were perfectly timed attempts to keep it at bay. It's just one singular super every single time. It's the same yesterday in East Asia. One singular super is enough to turn the game, whether it's knockout, whether it's gem grab. I mean, you know, this brawler is a problem, Sonny.
He really is just this strong. One super, as you said, and they can immediately turn the whole thing around. Humble looked in control, gone within a second. Really well played from them as well. Last month, or in April, they did play very well, but they mainly won because of the draft. Let's be honest here. They just brought in some super nice new ideas. Now this draft, I was like, they don't really have any range, right? How will they ever win this? But yes, as you already stated, Damien is just that strong.
I mean, that's just part of it. Sometimes the brawler is just too good, and that was something I think we saw East Asia. Some teams, I would say, even arguably won because they just had Damien on their side. So I'm curious if Humble end up removing this as we move forward. I think there were some tiny play decisions, like I mentioned. You saw in the replay there, Otis super in that game 3. It's not that he missed. It's just, I think it was the wrong decision. It's just Damien stars, and you have to focus the Damien, and unfortunately, they kind of lost sight of that goal.
Humble played it well too. They made sure that Boss always has a super, even a hypercharge available on that. Nita, Semantic, and him were playing super well together. That Kid Nita comp that, yeah, worked out wonderfully at the beginning, but Damien got a super hypercharge and it was over for them. Hopefully they're going to ban him out now if they don't have first pick themselves. We are in triple dribble, and I would argue that Brawl Ball might even be the best mode for Damien. He is going to be left open. Interesting. And we have Kumalazawesta once again with the first pick here. Now, Damien is someone who shows up here quite often. Other tanks that I would see here would be Kenji, for example. Maybe a Shade once again, but he's banned out, so probably not gonna see him, you know, but yeah, I would be surprised if this wasn't the Damien first pick once more.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, Otis and Charlie still out here for potential follow-ups, so they're trying to get ahead of the game. This is what I kind of see a lot, and whether Humble take the bait or not is going to be quite interesting, whether they just kind of leave it open even. It'd be quite bold to do so, but they are that kind of squad that wouldn't be the craziest of things. They have been playing it, so they do sometimes pick it up, but I would suggest pick it up, personally. But, I mean, it's already, as they know, a hard brawler to play into. Some other ideas that are on the field as well. Cordelis is a potential option here as well. I like the Crow ban. I think the Berry ban here quite warranted, actually, also here. Let's see, though, how they feel with things. Kenji definitely going to be that aggressor. Yeah, Charlie. I really love this brawler. It's a definite Damien counter, so they might want to now combine it with the Charlie and say, hey, we've got a counter to it, too, that you can't have double down for.
Yeah, it could be a very fair point. I'm going to watch out for Willow as we progress throughout this too, depending on each side. You see that Barry ban, you pointed it out. It's actually really good homework coming out of this right-hand side. Barry is somebody that's shown up a lot more for Humble coming into scrims leading in this month. It's just something when I've watched them that I've noticed they're doing a lot more than other teams on the planet, so I think that's a safe call.
Willow is always a brawler that comes to mind when we are in triple dribble. She and Shade have the most joins, are the best, so pick them for your ranked matches. With Shade banned out, Willow gets even stronger, because what can you really do against her? Now, I already mentioned Kenji would still be an answer to it. Damien's still left open, but as we already stated, now gets countered by that Charlie, and Humble as the last pick, so they could also still come in with something like a Nita to counter him out even more. On the right-hand side, we usually really like to play Lumi, I see, but she's banned out, so homework done on either side. Maybe Barley instead. They do want to have a thrower. I'd argue there is better than Barley. He's just a bit squishy. If Humble decides to go in with something aggressive now themselves, Barley doesn't really have the means to stay alive.
It's kind of been the natural progression in picks from pros recently, though. If Willow shows up, it's going to be met with a Barley. It's typically a 6th pick, but they have to go 4-5. So I think they know Humble aren't necessarily going to pick it, but the only issue I think I have now on this left-hand side is do they just blow open this map? I think if they construct it a little differently, Damien doesn't have a ton of range. Obviously, Barley not going to benefit. At least Willow has to be able to defend for herself with that gadget. She can dive underwater, or I guess the map, whatever you want to call it. And then going into this other team, it can get mind control, so you still have goal-scoring potential.
I like the idea. I like it. I mean, Barley's coming back a little bit, but mainly in hot zone. In the qualifiers, I saw Barley was quite troublesome in dueling people specifically. And now for me, yeah, Cordelius is another answer that I was referring to earlier. But, you know, the Barley and the Damien, I've not really seen this yet. So it is quite a concerning prospect that as they haven't gone for that kind of wall break idea. Like, is that additional healing, especially consider that Damien's got healing within his kit, if you don't want to go with the wall of sound gadget for that additional coverage, Barley could actually do some things here. But like you say, Sonny, it's pretty squishy.
We get to see it in the next few seconds. At least Kumalazawesta made sure that Humble can't return the favor. It cannot be a 3-0 today. They take at least a set. I would love to see a set 5, honestly. Let's see if we get to go all the way or not.
Makeshift wall up the middle of the map, so Boss will have to operate in the open left-hand side as Luki is backed away from Dompy. Pretty even in terms of range in that matchup as the throwers will go to work, and I think it's going to favor Barley by a little bit. I think if ideally properly played in a 1-1 vacuum, that's the way it's going to go, but I think with the rest of the roster, especially Boss now with the super, he's going to be able to capitalize it, dive in down to the Shadow Realm, now trapped on the other side, but it's branching out space for Semantic, dribbling left-hand side, debating what to do. A nice cutoff there too, but Ness is going to be good in a cocoon. It's just left to Semantic to walk it in.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this Cordelius pick already. I mean, I love the fact that Boss is just focusing and targeting the Barley actually over the Damien, which is really kind of smart because in that 3v2, it's going to be really hard for FA Kuma to really stand against the heat here. Dompe circling around that wall, but can't really find Luki now. The Spiderlings as well, as Luki is just balancing and spinning plates left, right, and center. I love it. And now Boss going to go in for some finalization. A mind control onto mine as well. Should be able to force back Dompe. And Humble still look very much in control here.
Notice how he walked him back all the way to Boss because he knew they could get a kill. He's too squishy. If it's somebody like Damien, they're going to leave him away. They don't want him touching them. They know he doesn't have range, but they exhaust all of Barley's shots just to grab that kill. Excellently done. Semantic low HP, though, needs to be careful, and that's actually cutting them off, but doesn't quite get the full mark. It doesn't go 3-pronged walls, it goes 2. And as a result, Boss is going to be able to slide through, especially with a hypercharge in the Shadow Realm. Ness is 1 tap away. What a beautiful kill out of Boss.
Might should fall here as well. That's a great hypercharge from Dompe. It might just buy enough seconds to prevent Humble from going for the steal. Really nice stuff at just the pinnacle moment to do so, allowing now FA Kuma to come back off the spawn.
And now Ness has to be extra careful. Semantic has a hypercharge super, meaning he's invincible if he hits the mind control as well. And to somebody like Ness with 11,000 plus HP, his teammates are not going to be able to get enough damage for a kill.
Semantic going to heal up now. To put maximum pressure to try to advance, and the wall of sound comes down by Ness. Boss is so dangerous with that super, and he's going to go straight for Ness to be able to eradicate him from the mix. That wall of sound goes down. That's going to give Humble a great opportunity to be able to flank the ball off to the left, but now Boss too low for these shots from mine, and a hypercharge now coming in. Last call, going to splatter the map.
And they need it. All the damage just to get a little bit of control, but no kills alongside it as Damien gets back in the mix. Semantic has the hypercharge, though, and makes the tag. Here comes the deadly attack. He's just going for defense, not even worry about scoring a goal. He's going to deploy Ness on that top right-hand side. Dompy still recovering from a spider web, and it's going to be Humble taking a match point.
Once again, Humble in that position where one more game will be enough to see a semi-finals. There is history between this rivalry, and we saw in the last set how FA Kuma were able to recollect themselves despite being against this very same prospect. Can they do the same twice?
And a reminder that this was Kuma's selection as well, so this is something that they wanted. They were hoping to get to this point, and now they're really hoping that they win 2 straight games for a set 5, as Humble have been back down early. The tag going through, but not enough for contact as Ness, left-hand side, getting up in the face. It's a dive underwater, 3v2 situation, and somehow being with all the pressure, it's Humble who come out with the numbers.
Boss now in a very advantageous position. Dompe is being poisoned down here. Now with mine off the spawn. Oh, what a jump! Oh my word! Disgusting from Boss! That was world class! What a goal from out of nowhere!
Now the last call on the left-hand side of the map after Boss's masterclass of a shot. It's going to be Ness collecting back to Semantic's hands. Dompe using the fat splatter to cut off Lukey, who will be pinned in this corner. A dive under, but Semantic knows he's in trouble. They have to charge this super, though. He pops right back out. Now Ness is going to kill his own teammate. Devastating stuff. Still low HP for Humble, though. Kuma, the red roster, have the ball, an opportunity, a kick over, but for now they just need to hold control.
Purple Tonic means big kills for FA Kuma. I feel like there might have been a world where they may have been able to make a bit of an advance for a goal opportunity, but now Semantic with the ball knows that he's got to target his attention over towards Ness there, who's going hand to hand with Boss. Both sides low. Dompe going to get the upper hand onto Boss. And again, you can feel the winds might be changing here, but the time is still ticking. And there's 1 minute on the clock here for FA Kuma. Can they walk this in? Can Ness? No! Mind control, but it's not going to be enough. He'll fall, and there's only Boss there on the line to defend, so now all tied up.
Great heads-up play from Kuma. They knew if they took down Willow, it wasn't the hypercharge, so you can still tag the Willow. Now the last call going down, but this time in the hypercharged form. Ness relying alongside his teammate, walking alongside him, playing bodyguard. They cut off this right-hand side, so Lukey can't actually use his hypercharge to make a tag. He's just going to use it for the Spiderlings at this point, and it helps a little bit, but not enough. Boss can drag him to the underworld. Part of the influence for using this Shadow Realm is Ness is going to sprint, meet him headlong. It's even HP, and Ness has to back away. What a fight there. That's a big get out of Boss.
You can see just how close that Cordelius versus Damien interaction really is. More Herbal Tonics now for mine. Allows Ness to push forwards in this position. And probably not too far away from another wall of sound. Now Semantic going to be popping his hypercharge. Will he connect the mind control? To force back mine, I believe, there as well. Dompe gets a tag, so Ness going to be able to stay in this position. But it looks like we're going to be going to overtime, and that could be quite crucial. So I feel like Humble may have an upper hand.
Yeah, Kuma in the driver's seat in terms of map control, though, but Boss now pressing, has the hypercharge available, tags it onto Mine. Mine does not stand a chance in that one-on-one interaction. Numbers for Humble, 3v2 situation, but Ness has to dive forward. They know they just need to buy time for the teammates. He gets a takedown, but it's a kick over to Lukey. Last call on the ground. Boss doesn't have the range to contest with Dompe, so it would be a standstill for the moment.
Tough timing. Lukey was one shot away from super there as well. If he received that pass and had that utility, it was a goal, and Humble would be going forwards now. A chance for FA Kuma to recollect in this spawn side. Dompe's shoved into the cocoon there as well. Big heals out from Mine. Can Humble get this forwards? He's got a mind control as well. And Semantic's hot on the trigger. Did he not connect it? He must have been just off.
Either that or he got killed immediately after using it, but Lukey has a hypercharge available. Dompe juking for his life, but the connection from Lukey goes through. The pin's out in celebration. Revenge has met its maker. Humble will be back for a semifinals.
Humble get it done against the squad. Hello, Marco. That did cause somewhat of an embarrassment. Let's be honest, let's not beat around the bush. It was an embarrassment for Humble back in April, but they've learned from their mistakes. Brawl Cup and winning it, most importantly, seems to give them a bit of a lift going into this month.
Absolutely. Really good set overall, though. I mean, it was a slow start, I would say, for Kuma. No way to go around it. It wasn't their best stuff in the opening couple sets, but they really started to find it in sets 3 and 4, I think. Even though this was a set loss, I thought they played it pretty well. Didn't mind the draft too much, just unfortunately Humble with some nasty plays. The Willow mind controls really helped out in the early onset. And of course, we saw players like Lukey and Boss just make big time plays. It's what they do. The mechanics and the drafts are something they're known for. In this modern day of Brawlstars, it's all in the same. If you can draft well and you can play well, you're good at the game.
I think Kumalazawesta proved that they can do both as well, though. Today, once more, they at least take a set against the team of EMEA, the team of the world right now. Let's be honest, they did take the win in the Brawl Cup after all. And we see it in the stats, unfortunately. Damien did really get counted out really